This makes all the difference. Today, we have with us a special guest. She is a best-selling author, a podcast host, and an award-winning speaker. Her name is Megan Nolan, and she's going to tell us what can make all the difference. She works with women, she helps women with anxiety, and she helps people live more fully, more abundantly by removing some of the stress and anxiety in their life, just making a simple reset in just a couple of minutes. So she's going to tell us about that today. So please join me in welcoming Megan Nolan. Here she is.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. So we always start by asking our guests to say our theme phrase. This makes all the difference. Give me your most excited statement here.
This makes all the difference.
Awesome. And you are going to tell me about the work you do with women, helping them with mental health, helping them with anxiety, all of that. So I guess my first question is, I've heard you have the ability to help your clients overcome anxiety anytime they want to, just by learning to shift their inner state, and they can do that in just a couple of minutes. Is that correct?
For sure. Yes. Yes. It's actually so incredibly powerful to be able to, first and foremost, recognize how we're feeling and then learn how to shift our inner state in any situation, right?
Hmm.
Not just when you're on the yoga mat or feeling super relaxed and wanting to get more relaxed, which is helpful, right? But in any situation, when you're about to go on a podcast or have a difficult conversation, like there is super practical applications for the tool that I use that is called Power Pause. So Power Pause is just like it sounds. It's learning how to press pause on the whirlwind of crazy thoughts or that anxious feeling in our body that we sometimes get, or the stress feeling that we may experience, and really drop into the most powerful place of all, which is the present moment, and be able to access a state of groundedness, centeredness, awareness, so that you can tap back into that place of power and that place of presence within yourself. Quiet the anxiety, quiet the stress by regulating your nervous system, which we will talk about as well, which is what you're doing when you take a power pause, so that you can go back into whatever you're doing from that place of connected awareness, from that place of center, from that place of clarity, and then take action. And it's really a powerful way to not only shift your inner state, cultivate calm, but actually tend to yourself, practice the deepest level of self-care, which is tending to your nervous system. So that is what we do when we take power pauses. And it's actually really simple. And we can go into one if you'd like, or if we want to wait on that, let me know.
Okay, sure. Let's dive in. So I know usually you work with women. I'm getting a treat here in being able to experience this. But please go ahead, if you would show me sort of what a power pause looks like, and maybe walk me through a little bit of that.
Absolutely. Well, you make a good point there. And I'm definitely leading a movement of people who care so much about how they feel that they make time for themselves every day. And that's certainly not just women. It's not gender specific. It's not any sort of outer categories or anything. It's really human, right? It's human. And so it's really important that we recognize that we're all included, right? And so it's really learning how to drop into that place of presence. So if it's safe for your listeners, your watchers to do so, you can go ahead and close your eyes. But obviously, if you're listening while driving, then please keep your eyes open. So what I'd love for you to do is close your eyes for a moment and notice in this moment right here, right now, how are you feeling? How is your body feeling? How's your energy feeling? However you would answer that question. Okay, so how are you feeling? And what we're doing here is learning to practice awareness of ourselves, practice compassionate self-awareness. And now as we breathe in through your nose. And then as you exhale, I want you to feel whatever surface you're on. I want you to feel whatever surface you're on. If you're standing, feel your feet. If you're sitting, feel your seat. And really sink into it a little bit more. Allow yourself to be grounded. Keep breathing.
Okay.
Keep breathing. Just stay in your body. Stay present. Keep breathing.
Should I be breathing out through my mouth or out through my nose?
Great question. there's different schools of thought. It's really most important that you're breathing. So whatever comes easiest to you.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do this. We're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouth. Okay.
Okay.
So let's inhale into our belly, sitting a little taller. And now as you exhale, breathe out from the deepest part of your belly. Deepest part of your belly, squeeze it in and sit up just a little taller or stand just a little taller. Ready? Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth for as long as you can. Try to get to like 8, 10, even longer counts on the exhale. Try again. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Out through the mouth for as long as you can. Good. Keep going. Keep going. Pull in through the belly. Squeeze the belly in like you're squeezing the air out like toothpaste out of a tube. One more time. Ready? Inhale deeply. And now as you exhale, squeeze in through the belly. Breathe the breath out. Ground yourself down more into the seat, more into the feet. Now, as you breathe out and engage your abs on this last one and squeeze the last little breath out, like that last little bit of toothpaste, you're squeezing it out of the tube. Stay
Mhm.
engaged through your core muscles. And as you inhale, imagine your whole spine getting taller, like a little giraffe, like you're going to get a little taller. Okay. And then hold those activations of the gentle engagement through your abdominals, lifting through the chest, lifting through the crown of your head. And now internally answer the question from your body's awareness, how am I feeling now? You might feel more grounded, you might feel more relaxed. Some people feel more sleepy, some people feel more awake.
You know, it
And
was
then,
interesting. It was interesting. As I was doing this exercise, I started to notice some of the tension that I had up here. I don't know if people tell you that. It was, because I became more aware of my body, right? So we were just talking. I was getting prepared for this, and oh, I know I've noticed. Okay, I'm tense here. I'm tense, and some of that is going away now.
oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you for that insight. And then the last thing to wrap up the power pause is from this place of awareness of how your body's feeling, maybe feeling that tension starting to soften a little bit. I want you to, from the wisdom of your heart, your soul, your higher self, whatever words you like there, I want you to decide how you're going to go back into the day as. Who are you going to be when you open your eyes after this power pause? So what energy are you going to fully embody? Activate that now. Drop into that level of awareness now and intention now. Feel into it and make that decision because this is who you are and you can show up this way. And then when you're ready, when you feel that active in your body, then open your eyes.
Okay, if we're ready, we can open our eyes now and rejoin. Thank you, Megan. That was a delightful experience.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So it is really, it's so powerful, right? And, in this world of busyness and overworking and going, we think that, we got to earn our rest or that it's slowing us down. But actually, when we are in this centered state, we shift brain activity from a survival state to a creative state. So we're actually more productive, we're more focused, we're more in our imagination, we're more in our playfulness, we're more in what I call the vibe of your vision, like the who you want to be, how you want to feel. And so
Mhm.
you are actually regulating your nervous system by doing that. And then by making that decision before you go back into your day, it's a very intentional way for you to move from that place, move from that sense of embodiment and connection to your vision and to your goals. And you go back into the day with that level of intentionality. So you're creating the rest of the day by design, right? It's not just haphazardly happening to you. You are an energetic force. And it's so important for us to remember that. So it brings together all those different tools in literally just 2 minutes. So it's pretty
Mhm.
impactful.
Yeah, the ability to change your state. You woke up, you were at work, you were already having a bad day, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not a victim of my circumstance. I can change this. I can take 2 minutes for myself, reset my frame, reset my entire experience, the way I'm experiencing this day, and make it a great day.
Absolutely.
So please, I'd love to learn more about you. Who is Megan, and how did you develop these tools that you now share with your clients?
Lovely. Thank you. Yes. Well, I have been a personal trainer and a yoga instructor for almost 20 years. And I've done a lot of different things and used those tools in a lot of different ways. And I am so fortunate and so lucky to have that creative inspiration because I've always loved exercise. I've always loved
Hmm.
movement. And for me, it's been a foundation for my health and my happiness. And as someone who
Hmm.
navigates anxiety myself, I've come to recognize how impactful these are and
Hmm.
as tools for me to be able to quiet those patterns and be able to show up intentionally and do the work that I love to do and serve others. And I've recognized that over the years, so many people that I have worked with and so many people that I've met in the entrepreneur world and community that they also are navigating mental health challenges. And actually, in the community of entrepreneurs that I really love to serve and support, 72% of the community has either ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety, bipolar. And so
Hmm.
it's really interesting to think about that. And that was actually done in California at the University of Berkeley before the pandemic. So I would hazard to
Uh,
guess that the rates are actually higher now, but that's just my own
yeah.
personal educated guess. And so
Hmm.
I've come to recognize that as a tool set, this is so impactful for all humans, as we spoke to earlier, but especially those that are navigating those challenges, and especially those that are navigating stress and anxiety a lot by the nature of the work that they do. And so for me, it's become this journey of realization that I feel so passionate about this because I navigate it myself, but I see it in so many other people that I've come to recognize that changing the conversation around mental health, especially in women, is part of my purpose and part of why I'm here. And it's definitely connected to my deeper why, because I believe that, all humans are for sure, but I believe that especially women and especially female entrepreneurs, we are change makers. We are here, we are doing big things in the world, and we deserve to be seen and celebrated for all that we are and not hide parts of ourselves because there's so much stigma around mental health challenges. And that's changing, thankfully. But I believe that, the work that I do is a part of that conversation. And so that's a little bit about me. I do live on the beautiful island of Maui. I have developed what I call a, snow allergy. I'm originally from Canada and I don't like being cold, so I live out here and I get to share these tools with people all around the world. And so it's been a really beautiful journey.
Hmm. Cool. You said that this is something that you work with. I mean, you help your clients with this, but this is something that you also um, work on in yourself. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Yes. That's really, I think we've all had, well, I shouldn't say that. Many of us have had those moments when we get to that point where we're flat out and we're exhausted and we're waving the flag and we're like, I can't do this anymore. What am I even doing? Why am I doing this? And so for
Hmm.
me, I've had several of those sort of line in the sand moments, dark night of the soul, quote unquote, of realizing that I was pushing myself way too hard. And it's this interesting double-edged standard and double-edged sword of, we want to be driven, we want to be goal oriented, but that can be our demise. And that for me, that was my demise as well, because it was triggering a lot of anxiety. And so when I got to that point of feeling so exhausted, burnt out, resentful of what I was doing in the way that I was doing it, I recognized that I was just in this constant tornado of anxiety. And for me, that's what
Hmm.
anxiety feels like, is that you're just like a kite in a tornado, just getting whipped around and not having a grounded foundation, not having a steadiness. And so that's really what led to this point. And I navigate that and I've learned a lot of tools and yoga and exercise and breath work and all of that has been really foundational for me because it's been part of my life's journey, right? And therefore it's now become part of my life's work. And I can really empathize with other people that navigate that. And I've had seasons of sadness as well, of depression. And so I get that. Like I get the human experience is broad and it's not just sunshine and rainbows all the time. And especially life happens, right? We experience loss, we experience grief, we experience confusion. And so it's having tools that really bring us back to this place of centeredness and take the power pauses and do the practices and make it your foundation that has been really impactful for me and the work that I do for others.
I see. And you mentioned you lived in Canada. I think you were in the U.S. maybe when you were very young. Um, tell me about your early experiences. How, where you came from and what your life was like when you were little.
Sure. So yes, I was born in the US, but my parents were Canadian. They were just doing some grad work down there in the
Mhm.
US, and then we moved back to Canada. And so I am the oldest of four children. I was very much, the built-in nanny, which is great. And so, have a lot of beautiful experiences with that, and that I think developed a lot of my skill set. And my parents were both very academic focused, and so it was essentially mandatory to go to secondary education. And so,
Sure,
I
yes,
didn't
yeah.
really have a choice, especially as the oldest child. And so,
Mhm.
yes, it was definitely, it sort of programmed my high achieving ways of like, you get good grades and you work really hard and this is what you do. And so, that's something
You know,
that
I
I
have
miss.
to I have to tell you, I have four children myself,
Okay.
and my oldest is I have got two boys, two girls, but my oldest is a girl, and so she's very smart. She's also very bossy. I think it comes with that being the eldest of four. So see a little bit of that. She's very smart, very high achieving. I mean, she's already sort of probably a grade or two level above her age, but also just when they play, okay, you're gonna. She's like the general of the children, so okay, you're gonna do this. You're gonna do this.
Well, you're developing a strong leader.
Exactly. Young female leader right there.
Yes, yes, we need more of those, 1,000%. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. I can totally relate to that. And I might be biased, but I think oldest children are typically really well groomed for that sort of thing because of the nature of our birth order, right? And so
Exactly, yes.
yeah. So yeah, that was
Mhm.
my upbringing, but my parents did a lot of traveling when we were growing up, and I love to see the world. And so I realized that, after I graduated from university, I thought, well, why don't I make use of my American citizenship and move to the most beautiful state that they have? And that's when I first moved to Hawaii in 2003. And so
Mhm.
then, have been in this beautiful place for on and off for that, however length of time is that now? I don't know, 23 years.
It's
I
like
moved back
20,
to
yeah.
Canada
Yeah.
for a window of time because I was living on the Big Island and it was so beautiful. But the islands themselves in the island chain of Hawaii, they're all a little bit different, right? They all
Mhm.
have a very similar energy, like sisters in the same family, but they each have these different aspects to them. Some are
Sure,
better
yeah.
suited to some people than others. And so the
Mhm.
Big Island wasn't really where I was meant to be, wasn't my home. And so I moved back to Canada, realized I love British Columbia, I love Canada, but I don't like being rained on all the time. And I felt like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. And so then I moved to Maui, and I've lived on Maui for whatever, almost, see, math, not my strong suit, I think 14 years-ish.
Uh-huh. Excellent. And so clearly your parents sound like very educated, high achieving individuals themselves. And
Yes.
were they both your mother and father role models for you?
Yes, for sure. Yes, my
Mhm.
father was a neuroanesthesiologist, so he
Mhm.
put people to sleep for brain surgery. So yes, he was a very, very smart man, and
Mhm.
he's a big part of my deeper why, because he had pretty consistent, strong depression, and so he
Mhm.
was so driven, so hardworking, providing for four, and he would go and he would work all day long, but then he had no energy at the end of the day because he was so tapped out and he was drained. And so that was a
Mhm.
big part of what I do is when I was a child, I saw that it was really hard for you to be very successful in work and to have a happy family life. And that was the
Mhm.
story that I made as a child, because I wanted to, enjoy my dad's presence when he came home from work, but he was just so exhausted and so drained because he was literally giving everything at work, right? As you would need
Yeah,
to do
I feel
at
that,
such
yeah.
an important role. And so
Mhm.
that's been a big journey for me of uncovering and why I do the work that I do, because I believe that holistic success is possible, that we can be successful in all areas of our life if we're intentional with what we give our energy and our focus to. So my mom and dad met at a hospital. My mom was a cardiac nurse as well, and then evolved into being a doula. So she helped
Mhm.
other moms to give birth and then do lactation, breastfeeding, consulting, etc. So they were very academically focused. And so that
Mhm.
was, our our family was, or me and my siblings were very, nudged, pushed in that direction as well.
Yeah, that medical, the academia, all of that, all of
Yes,
that sounds
yeah, and
like.
I think it was great for them because of course, they wanted me to go into medicine, which thankfully my sister satisfied that need and she's an ICU nurse, so she did that for the rest of us. But I really had to nurture the conversation to help my father see that yoga and exercise is actually preventative medicine, and he bought my argument after a while, but and it's well validated, backed in research, how important stress reduction and muscle mass, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the things that I help with. So I eventually I'm in preventative medicine from their perspective.
Mhm. Absolutely. There's so much we can do to preserve our health, to enhance our health.
Mhm.
Because again, it's if many times I think by the time you go to see the doctor, it's already too late. You needed to 20 years ago fix your posture, and 15 years ago start eating more healthy and all that stuff. So do be healthy now. Stress, all of those stress hormones are just like toxin. You're not going to drink cyanide, but if you're living with stress and not addressing it, so it's like the same thing, right?
Absolutely. And that's where power pauses come in because it's really about the cumulative effect of what we're doing, right? Because
Mhm.
people sometimes, they get on a health kick at the beginning of the new year and they do a complete overhaul and it's not sustainable. And so it's
Mhm.
more important what we do consistently, right? We know this from every avenue of life and business is about the consistency. So in order for us to be consistent, it has to be doable, sustainable, and in my opinion, enjoyable, because that makes us more likely to do it and therefore get the benefits from it, right? Going to yoga once a month is great. It helps, but it's
Mhm.
impactful if you take little breaks throughout the day and you drip it into your day. You weave it into your day by taking these little power pauses so that you're dialing down the stress levels, right? Like you said, the stress hormones are, stress is associated with every major chronic disease. So
Mhm.
reducing your stress makes all the difference.
Yes. Absolutely. So if you're feel comfortable enough to share, what was a vulnerable moment for you, and how did you discover your resilience through that?
Great question. Yeah, well, I mean, I shared one of the vulnerable moments earlier where I recognized that I was at capacity with what I was doing and how I was doing it. And then I would say another vulnerable moment would be, so I mentioned that I live on Maui, and just over a year ago, we had a really horrible fire here, and it was
Oh
super
yeah, I
impactful
heard
for
about.
all of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so, all of us were directly and indirectly affected. I was more so indirectly affected, although I was there that day, but, got home safely. But for me, that was a really vulnerable time for so many reasons because it was so stressful and traumatic for all of us that it was a point of pausing, right? It was what I would call a sacred power pause and helped me to recognize
Hmm.
that the work that I do to help people to navigate stress and not on that level of intensity by any means, although sometimes people have had that level of experience, that recognizing that what I do is super important for not only longevity, not only productivity, not only for the way we feel each day, but truly for the quality of our life. And that's really what the most important thing is to live each day fully and to really celebrate each day as a gift. And for me, the gift and the teaching in that whole experience was a deep reconnection to my purpose and recognizing that what I'm here to do is so much bigger than helping people have strong posture, although that's very important and very impactful, directly impactful. But it's
Hmm.
more important because of what it's doing for their nervous system, the quality of their life, the impact that that has on every person they might meet with and love and interact with. So yeah, that was definitely a vulnerable moment of shift and recalibration.
Hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, um, if someone wants to go deeper beyond the power pose, what else are some other things we can do to stay centered and not stress out in stressful moments like again, you mentioned the fire, and of course LA has fires also.
Yeah.
What are some ways we can stay, other ways we can stay centered?
Well, one of the tools I see as foundational is a morning routine. And, take it or leave it. Some people are into it, not everybody. And, I know that's not everybody wants to get up early, but you don't have to get up early. It's okay if you
Mhm.
do 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
So I would say that having an intentional start to the day is very, very important for the quality of your life, because what it's doing, especially in the crazy world that we live in right now, right? So many of us, first thing, bing, 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 grab the phone, all the notifications, and we just jump right into that pool of stress hormones and worry and overwhelm and everything that we might experience when we go onto social media.
Mm,
So take a power pause for yourself first thing in the morning. Start the
mm,
day with intentionality. That is so important. It's literally dialing down your stress hormones. It's keeping you in a more regulated state. So you go into the day in that stay and play state rather than fight or flight, right? That's the difference. Stay and
yeah.
play is a regulated state in your nervous system where you're energized, you're effervescent, you're ready, you're active, but you're not in overwhelm, you're not in anxiety. And so it's a really a powerful place. It's leadership energy, truly. And so I would say that amplifying your morning routine, because you already have a morning routine,
Yeah.
do
Yep.
1,000% you
Hmm.
it might include exercise and yoga and meditating and journaling and tapping and all that. It might. Or it includes drinking a lot of coffee, scrolling on social media, freaking out about the world, and then starting your day or something to that effect, right? And
Yeah.
so amplifying your morning routine. So my acronym for that is align your mind. So that's where you
Mhm.
can do some sort of visualization, meditation, prayer, reading, listening to something inspirational, podcast, whatever, tapping, whatever you like, right? Again, it's something that you enjoy, not this arbitrary, okay, morning routine, here we go, just to check the box. It should feed you and
Mhm.
nourish you on a soul level. So
Right.
A is align your mind.
Hmm.
M is move your body, because guess what? You're not a rock or a tree, and movement is really powerful. Movement is mind medicine, movement is body medicine, is very, very important, and it energizes you. It gets you into strong, powerful, confident posture. So you go into the day that way. And when you add in the layer of what we spoke to earlier of the intentionality of the energy that you want to activate within yourself, the energy that you want to embody, the person that you want to be, use your movement practice to engage that elevated emotional state. Have a clear intention when you go into your movement practice. And again, it might be yoga if you like yoga. It might be strength training. It might be riding on your Peloton. It might be walking your woofer, like whatever. But do it
Hmm.
with that level of presence. Enjoy the moment, right? Enjoy the
Hmm.
moment and whatever that means to you. So we have align your mind, move your body. So the last one is rewire your system. And the cool thing in it is about rewiring your system, which is, essentially your nervous system, is you're doing that already in those first two pillars. So amplifying your morning routine affects your nervous system because you're actively becoming very grounded, very regulated, very present, which is what your nervous system loves, right? Which is the mind-body connection. Truly is the vagus nerve, is the main nerve of our nervous system. So what we're doing
Hmm.
is creating new patterns for yourself, new
Hmm.
neural pathways in your brain that show you that there's a different way to look at things. There's a more expansive perspective to take when you're in that state where in that stay and play state is where you're at your most powerful. So that's amplifying your morning routine. I would say that that is a really great place to start, in addition to taking your power pauses throughout the day.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And one question, what is one misconception or one thing that a lot of us get wrong, that you being an expert in this area, notice that many people say have a misunderstanding or something? What is some understanding that we can correct through your wisdom?
Mm. Well, I guess a misunderstanding or a mistake that a lot of people make is they tell themselves they'll do it later.
Hmm. Procrastination is
Yes.
procrastination is where things go to die, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, where's later? Later doesn't
Hmm.
ever really exist. Now exists. And I'm not saying there has to be a sense of urgency of, oh, do it now, I must do it now. But we prioritize what's important.
Mhm.
And what is ultimately the most important? I would say, and tell me if you disagree, because I'm open to opinions. I would say the most important thing is how you feel, right?
Mhm.
And we're always going after a feeling state when we go after these big goals. It's how we think it's going to make us feel. And so how if we prioritize how we feel, and that's not at the expense of just completely slacking off and, never taking action again, because you're just going to live this luxurious lifestyle. And if you're able to do that, go for it. But how can you prioritize how you feel in each moment by making sure that you're checking the boxes of mind, body, spirit care so that you can feel that way now, so that you can show up from that place. So putting it off till later and deprioritizing how you feel at the expense of doing all of the outer tasks is actually kind of backwards, right? It's the model of, okay, once I have this, that, and the other thing, then I'll do the thing, right? And so it's the reverse that we want to lean into of who are we being when we do the things, so that you
Mhm.
have the things that you want to have, right? And so it's that interesting model that maybe, your community is familiar with, of the be, do, have. So who are you being in the
Yeah,
moment? And that's really the priority.
well said. Yeah.
Thank you.
And when I work with my clients, a lot of what I help them do is um, achieve those goals that defy clear definition. Because you can say, okay, I want to make $1 million or this or that, but it's not really about, success is not, you don't reach success when you've made $1 million or $10 million or even $100 million. There's no magic button that says, okay, you have succeeded now. It's really about the feeling that you have. And if you
Yeah,
are able to make, $1 million a year and feel and have the lifestyle, you have the connections with people, you have your time freedom, that is success. And a larger dollar value is not going to give you anything different than making a good income, making a good impact, and having influence, and just having those markers of success. And then also knowing this is this is what I've been looking for. Sometimes I think we are chasing the dream so much that we don't even notice when we have it.
right. Exactly. And that's what the power pause helps us to do, is to really drop into that feeling and to reconnect with that desire for how you want to feel. And what we want to do is truly to be present and to savor. And it's not just getting to the finish line, it's how we get there, right? And if we get there
Absolutely,
at
yes.
all, it's really determined by what we do to get there, right? And so, I used to live on the Big Island. I love this analogy. My friend was a triathlon athlete, and so he trained super hard. We went to go see him, and we're standing at the finish line of the Ironman, and there's all of these people that are like crossing the line, and they just look like they're strutting and they're crushing it. And then our friend, we were like, "Where is he?" And he got to the finish line, and he literally like fell onto it, and then
Oh
he
gosh.
sat up, and I was like, "You are so badass! You made it to the finish line." But in order to make it to the finish line of your goals and get to that place, it does takes a lot of things, but they're all driven by three things: your mind, your body, and your spirit. So it's just like the triathlon, is you have to achieve all of those, those um, successful markers to be able to get your gold medal at the finish line. And so it's really about what we do on the way that's so, so valuable and important.
I agree so much. I believe you have a guest for not a guest. I believe you have a gift for our audience here. So I'm going to pull this up, and you can tell us a little bit about that. Wait, okay, here it is. It says, cultivate calm on command with the free Power Pause Pocket Guide. A lot of
Yeah.
P's there. Tell us about that,
I
please.
love alliterations. Yes. Yes. So what we experienced earlier was a power pause. And so the pocket guide will actually give you an asset that you can print out, have on your desk, bring with you wherever, get into the practice. There's another P for you, of purposefully, just kidding, I'll stop. Taking these breaks, these mindful moments. I can't stop. It's like hardwired into my brain. Alliteration is my jam. So it's a really valuable tool for you to learn how to make these intentional breaks for yourself in the day, which because they help to boost your creativity, your focus, the flow state is what they really actually help you access. So that's what the Power Pause guide will help you to do.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for that gift. And in case you can't read it clearly on the screen, it is www.megan, MEGAN Nolan, NOLAN.com/pocket. So that's where you will get your free gift. And
Yeah.
I'm sure many of our audience might want to connect with you after. So you also have your links here. I'll read those. It is I am Megan Nolan, again, MEGAN NOLAN. No dots or dashes, just I am Megan Nolan on Instagram. And your website is megan-nolan.com. So our audience can reach out to you. And there's also a link to your podcast. And how often do you put out your podcast?
Weekly.
Weekly, okay.
Yes.
So you
Yeah,
can
and actually
catch.
the easiest way to grab that free gift is if you just go to giftfrommegan.com, and it's MEGAN. So giftfrommegan.com will take you to the Pocket Pause guide as well.
Excellent. Okay. Well, it has been a joy having you with us. Thank you for guiding me through that Pocket Pause. I greatly enjoyed that, and look forward to connecting with you again.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much for
Megan.
having me. You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care now.